Another day and another David Ayer tease of his Suicide Squad. This is an image he put on Instagram story of what looks like to be, Pinhead from Hellraiser, probably one of Joker's henchmen coming to get Joker out. Now I have to say, this is probably an actual scene from the actual Suicide Squad, David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad. Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix. My name is Chris Wong. First, we're going to talk about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Then we're going to talk about Matt Reeves' The Batman. And finally, Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, and also a bit of Justice League 2 and 3. Alright, let's talk about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Now, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad came out, and it didn't do so well in the box office, but apparently it did pretty well on HBO Max. And with James Gunn's Peacemaker coming out soon, James Gunn's little Suicide Squad franchise is continuing on. But with all the characters that he utilized in The Suicide Squad, we're still wondering about what could have been if Will Smith came back as Deadshot. Rumors before was that Idris Elba was going to replace Will Smith as Deadshot. There were even rumors that Idris Elba was playing Bronze Tiger, and then finally, he's officially Bloodsport. But there was some interesting early concept art that went out that showed that Deathstroke was supposed to have been in the movie in place of Bloodsport. In fact, there's early concept art of Deathstroke. There's two different versions of it, and I want to say it looks pretty badass. I kind of like the look of it. And then we actually get a shot of an early concept art for Bloodsport. Now what's interesting about this early concept of Bloodsport is that he's positioned in the same fashion as the Deathstroke concept. In fact, the eye is the same. Which leads me to believe that Idris Elba was actually going to play Deathstroke instead of Bloodsport at one point. Which is kind of sad because they didn't even consider Joe Manganiello coming back. Like, how early are these concept art? But I guess like Will Smith's Deadshot, James Gunn and Idris Elba figured, you know what? Joe Manganiello is great. He's fantastic as Deathstroke. Let's not go there. And let's just get a new character for Idris Elba. Alright, let's talk about Matt Reeves' The Batman. Now, Matt Reeves' The Batman comes out next year, and it's probably the most hyped DC movie that's coming out that's not part of the DCEU. And it appears that Matt Reeves wanted to collaborate with Zoe Kravitz in creating their Catwoman character. This is what she said. It was important to give him an idea of what it's really like to work with me, to say what I really think, and if we're on set together, to ask the questions I want to ask. I tried to come at it from the angle where I'm showing him what I see and feel about this character. I believe that's why it happened and I got the role. Matt's a fantastic director and he's really into talking about the character. We had some really good conversations. I had some thoughts about the character once I read the script too, and they were welcome. But Zoe Kravitz also talked about her Catwoman character and how she wanted to approach that character. I've seen all the movies. Yeah, I've read some of the comics now, but I wasn't a comic head or anything. I also tried to think about it not as Catwoman, but as a woman. How does this make me feel? How are we approaching this, and how are we making sure we're not fetishizing or creating a stereotype? I knew it needed to be a real person. So I'm thinking that Zoe Kravitz's version of Catwoman is not going to be the over-the-top Michelle Pfeiffer type. Is it going to be closer to Anne Hathaway's version of Catwoman? But maybe we'll get to see a little bit more of her character early as DC Fandome. In fact, Robert Pattinson is teasing DC Fandome a little bit and the actual movie.
But in that spirit, though, we fans got a first look at DC Fandome last year. We're hoping for more this year. What can you tease about what they're going to get to see next?
Me and Zoe did some stuff, and it's a fun little thing, and there's lots of little surprises for it. But I've seen some of the movie now, and it's really cool. It's really cool. Cool.
Well, so Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz shot a little something for DC Fandome. Now I'm thinking this is just part of their presentation, but I'm kind of really excited to see what they have in store at DC Fandome. What surprises are there? Alright, let's talk about Zack Snyder, Rebel Moon, and Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. Now many have said or have heard that Andy Muschietti's The Flash is going to be almost like an homage to the Snyder Cut because they really dig it. I mean, even Patty Jenkins says they're not going to follow Joss Whedon's Justice League, but they could possibly follow Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, we have yet to actually see that fully, but we can hope anyways, which is fine. I guess that's great that they're going to look at the Snyder Cut and says, we're going to take a page out of that, and we're going to honor that, and we're going to continue off of that in their own way. But that doesn't mean that's actually the Snyderverse. You know, Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. That's not that at all. In fact, we still kind of want Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3, in addition to whatever DCEU is doing. But it looks like Zack Snyder is totally busy at this point, and with Warner Brothers not really wanting to restore the Snyderverse yet, Zack Snyder's got to do what Zack Snyder's got to do, which is make movies. But today's announcement was kind of interesting. This is actually coming from Rebel Moon Updates. They got a little snippet of an article from Screen Daily. Big budget projects selected out of the 56 applications the CFC received this round, including Zack Snyder's Netflix project Rebel Moon Part 1, set to get an estimated credit of $18.5 million on a qualified spend of $83 million. Part 1? Now, before you get too excited, they actually retweeted that and said that the actual announcement for the California Film Commission didn't actually say Rebel Moon Part 1. It just said Rebel Moon. But also that it only mentioned $83 million, and it didn't actually say anything about the estimated credit of $18.5 million. So I'm off scratching my head. Where did they get the Part 1 part and the estimated credit? Did they actually have information in addition to that California Film Commission report? But let's think about it for a second. Rebel Moon Part 1. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, if Zack Snyder was going to do his own Star Wars, well, Star Wars is not a one-film franchise. There is a lot of movies. If Zack Snyder's trying to do his own Star Wars franchise, which, you know, I think he can't help it. I think he thinks about the world in addition to the actual movie. Just like how he's expanding Army of the Dead. Twilight of the Gods may be his own franchise as well. Then you got Rebel Moon. But that leaves fans to wonder, where is there room for Justice League 2 and 3 if Zack Snyder gets the opportunity to do that? Now, many have said that if Zack Snyder does get the opportunity, if Discovery comes in and saves the day, that just Justice League 2 and 3 wouldn't get made until maybe 2 or 3 years from now, if Zack Snyder directs it. But you know us, we want it now, and you know, the actors aren't getting any younger. So the other possibility, and I think Dave the Film Junkie actually brought this out, and maybe because he's heard about something, I don't know, that Zack Snyder could be brought in to produce the movies instead of directing it. In which case, it's like him having another person direct the actual films, and he's just in the background overseeing the whole project. I guess it's kind of like Zack Snyder producing Army of Thieves, or Zack Snyder producing Twilight of the Gods. Matthias Schweighöfer is the actual director for Army of Thieves. Jay Oliva is the actual director for Twilight of the Gods. So that's a possibility that may happen, that Zack Snyder may not have time to actually direct Justice League 2 and 3, and hand those reins off to somebody else. But it doesn't mean he's not going to be producing it. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be his story. Or Justice League 2 and 3 could be so dear in his heart that he's going to want to direct it himself. So I'm still crossing all my fingers and toes that Discovery will come in and do something about it. One way or the other, if Zack Snyder is okay with it, I would love to see his vision any way he wants to present it.